And just to recap on Hypo's portfolio over here, in the last video that we just covered, we chose 3 particular stocks. We got Tesla, Domino's Pizza, and Boeing for $10,000 each. That's what we just allocated on January 3rd, 2022. And this upcoming quarter, we have an additional $10,000 to allocate, where that money will be spent on a particular company inside the defense industry. And so let's just see how well we have done so far. And yeah, just checking out those statistics over here. It's pretty bad, if I have to say so myself. Domino's is down 30%, Boeing is down 13%, Tesla is down 3%. So all in all, we're down a boatload of money, unfortunately. And I calculated some summary statistics over here. So we started with $30,000. We lost $4,500, and now we have $25,000 left, where we're gonna have an additional $10,000 to play with. So yeah, it's not looking so good for Hypo, but like, you know, this is a learning experience and we all have to start somewhere. So why these companies in particular, you might be asking? Well, just looking at the US defense budget, I obtained the top 5 companies that just so happen to win the lion's share of the defense budget. The defense budget has a positive trend for the past 40 years. We know that a larger defense budget means more revenue, and I personally find it hard to believe that the defense budget will decrease substantially in the foreseeable future. The large defense and aerospace companies have strong relationships with US government officials, and these corporations have decades of built trust. This is incredibly difficult for a future competitor to take revenue away from these established firms. This is my high-level demonstration on how I actually calculated the present value of a defense company, and in this case it's Lockheed Martin. This is going to be April 8th, 2022. So these are all the broad inputs. Everything in yellow is like literally I just typed it in from the annual report or Yahoo Finance for that matter. So all these numbers are sort of self-explanatory, but these numbers are used to be plugged into the DCF valuation model I have going on over here. But yeah, I think it's in terms of millions when applicable. So for revenue, this is $67 billion according to its last fiscal year. And same thing for its EBIT, $9 billion, and this is $266 million. But yeah, everything here is just taken straight from the annual report or Yahoo Finance. So let's go ahead and look at cost of capital. Pretty much the exact same thing. You just go through the process of calculating that weighted average cost of capital, and that is what I did over here. This is my basic model on how to calculate the present value. Overall idea is that you want to figure out the present value of all future cash flows, and with that you could calculate how much that particular company is worth today. This looks kind of gnarly over here, but probably the most important takeaways is just figuring out the terminal cash flow, the present value of the terminal cash flow that we have over here, and calculate the terminal cost of capital, which is right over here. And then you subtract that, so it'll be your terminal cash flow divided by your terminal cost of capital, subtract your revenue growth rate, and that is this number over here. So that's the terminal value. Put that to your present value, so you just multiply that by the discount factor, which we had over here, and that is your present value. Of course, you want to incorporate, you know, your probability of failure, and then you have your value of equity, which I calculated to be $177 billion. Divide that by the number of shares outstanding, which is 266 million or so, and this is the current estimated value for Lockheed Martin, which is $666.08. So I do that the same throughout all of my other companies, General Dynamics, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, you name it. And so let's see what that turns out to be. I thought that Lockheed Martin's valuation was a bit wonky here, since many of the other valuations were quite close to each other. I have a sneaking suspicion that this valuation might be too good to be true, so I've taken Lockheed out of the picture. Raytheon Technology was deemed overvalued, so this company is also out of the picture, and Hypo's portfolio already has Boeing in it, so that's out as well. We have 2 contenders out of the 5 options, Northrop Grumman versus General Dynamics. Let's talk about their competitive moats. General Dynamics is a global aerospace and defense company specializing in a broad portfolio of products and services in the military market. General Dynamics also has a notable position in the marine and aerospace markets. I've broken down General Dynamics' market segments to see in general how much revenue GD is pulling in from its product portfolio. General Dynamics' marine systems comes in at 27%, and this isn't too surprising since their marine systems are incredible and the price tag is actually quite high per marine vessel. I do want to highlight this revenue stream since Northrop Grumman does not have a dedicated segment for pure technologies. Rather, Northrop has technological systems embedded in their hardware. So who's the customer? From what I've gathered, it's mostly the United States government, coming in at a whopping 70% of General Dynamics' revenue stream. 22% is in the commercial side and 8% is presumably with the United States' allies. So all in all, about 78% of its revenue comes from governments. General Dynamics has multiple selling points here. They have a diverse range of products. A significant portion of General Dynamics' revenue comes from IT and computer systems, something that Northrop Grumman does not currently have really, but that is not to say that General Dynamics doesn't specialize in hardware. In fact, General Dynamics is also a leading designer of the nuclear-powered submarines. One of these baddies can go for $3.45 billion per unit. They're also known for their surface ships such as the Zumwalt-class destroyer, which goes for about $4.2 billion per unit, and the Arleigh Burke, which goes for about $1.84 billion per unit. Like General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman is a global aerospace and defense company providing a broad range of products, services, and solutions to the United States government and international customers. Their portfolio of products consists of aeronautics, defense, mission, and space systems. Northrop's main selling point is their hardware. Most of their revenue comes from selling tangible goods. They continue to supply the US government tools and act as a liaison to conduct foreign military sales contracted through the United States government. Some notable hardware systems created by Northrop Grumman are the following: the MQ-4C Triton, which specializes in surveillance, providing real-time information to the user, and the US Air Force B-21 Raider long-range strike bomber, and I'm sure by the title you can infer what this particular product does. Let's break down Northrop's segments. Overall, they are well versed in different military markets, and you won't find it hard pressed to see Northrop's products in all the United States' military branches, primarily because Northrop has a knack for creating some of the best hardware in the business. Now, 85% of Northrop's revenue comes from the United States government. The other 14% of its revenue is associated with its international clients. Presumably, Northrop sells the same or similar products in the international market. So all in all, we can probably infer that 99% of its revenue comes from the United States government and its allies. Final verdict. And this is a little bit obvious, but the more money the government provides to the defense industry, the more money that the defense industry is going to receive in their pockets. So if there's a decrease in the defense budget, then that is probably a leading indicator for the decrease in the defense industry. Now, from what I've read, the defense industry organizations are slowly losing its talent due to old age or people jumping ship to the management side or an entirely different industry. Now, I have a bit of a technological background, and from my perspective, I truly believe that technology plays a huge role for the potential growth that these defense companies will have. And the main difference between General Dynamics and Northrop was that General Dynamics has a huge IT division specifically oriented with the softwares as a service or these huge networking systems that they have in play, and that represents close to a third of their entire revenue. Whereas Northrop, they're only focused primarily on hardware, where technology, the software applications are plugged into their hardware, and that's the main distinguishing factor between these two, and that is why for a Hypo's portfolio I would choose General Dynamics. Did I miss anything important or leave out any important detail? Let me know in the comment section down below, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.